Australia's future. It's up to you. Pathway towards a progressive Australia. The basic progressive vision. The basic progressive vision of an Australian community that is caring and responsible. People caring for each other, not just for themselves. Acting responsibly both for themselves and their fellow citizens with strength and effectiveness. Democracy means acting on that care and responsibility through government to provide public resources for all, from the needy to the average citizen and those running businesses. The private depends on the public. This means that if you use public resources to become wealthy, then fairness requires you share your wealth so that others may benefit as well. We are all in the same boat. That's what democracy means. The logic of progressive values could be characterized as caring and responsibility carried out with strength of commitment and effort. Core values of progressives: protection, fulfillment in life and fairness, freedom, opportunity and prosperity, community, service and cooperation, trust, honesty and open community. Every progressive value follows from these core values. Equity follows from fairness. Empathy is part of caring. Diversity comes from empathy and equality. Progressive political principles. Equity, what citizens and the nation owe each other. Equality, do everything possible to guarantee political and social equality and avoid imbalances of political power. Progressive political principles continued. Democracy, maximise citizen participation, minimise political, corporate and media power. Government for a better future. Government does what Australia's future requires and what the private sector cannot do or do not do effectively or ethically. Progressive political principles continued. Ethical business. Our values apply to businesses. Businesses should not adversely affect the public good. Value-based foreign policy. The same values governing domestic policy should apply to foreign policies wherever possible. Policy directions. The economy. Investing in an economy centred on innovation that creates millions of good-paying jobs and provides every Australian a fair opportunity to prosper. Policy directions continues. Security. Through military strength, strong diplomatic alliances and wise foreign and domestic policy, every Australian should be safeguarded at home, and the Australians' role in the world should be strengthened by helping people around the world to live better lives. Policy directions continues. Health. Every Australian should have access to a state-of-the-art free healthcare system. Policy directions continues. Education. A vibrant, well-funded and expanding public education system with the highest standards for every child and school, where teachers nurture children's minds and often the children themselves, and where children are taught the truth about their nation, its wonders and its blemishes. Policy directions continues. Nature. The natural wonders of our country are to be preserved for future generations and enhanced where they have been degraded. Policy directions continues. Energy. Make major investment in renewable energy for the sake of millions of jobs, improvements in public health, preservation of our environment, and the effort to halt global warming. Policy directions continues. Openness. An open, effective and fair government that tells the truth to our citizens and earns the trust of every Australian. Equal rights. Support equal rights in every area involving race, ethnicity, age, gender and sexual orientation. Policy directions continues. Finally, protections. Support keeping and extending protections for consumers, workers, retirees and investors. More about a stronger Australia. It's not just about defence, but about every dimension of strength. Our effectiveness in the world, our economy, our education system, our healthcare system, our families, our communities, our environment, and so forth. broad prosperity is the effect that markets are supposed to bring about. Markets should be constructed for the broadest possible prosperity, as opposed to exponential accumulation of wealth by the wealthy. A better future for all. Australians want and deserve a better future, economically, educationally, environmentally, and in all areas of life for themselves and their children. Effective government. Effective government is what we need our government to accomplish to create a better future. Smaller government is, in conservative propaganda, supposed to eliminate waste, but is really about eliminating social programs. Mutual responsibility. Progressive live by the best values of both family and community. That is, mutual responsibility, which is authoritative, equal, and based around caring responsibility, both individual and social, and commitment. Conservative governments. Conservative family values are those of a strict father family, authoritarian, hierarchical, every man for himself, based around discipline and punishment. Traditional family values are those based on progressive values, progressive principles, and progressive policy directions. This is the way most Australians really want the country to go. Unifying Australia. Unifying Australia is the job of bringing our country together around the finest traditional values. But this alone is not enough. If these values are unspoken, conservative values will dominate public discourse, and these values will be lost, swept out of our brain by the conservative communication juggernaut. How to implement progressive values. These values must be out in the open, named, said, discussed, publicised, and made part of everyday public discourse. Don't just read these values. Just reading and nodding will do nothing. Get out and say them out loud. Discuss them wherever you can. Volunteer for campaigns that give you a chance to discuss these values loud and clear out in the public. Vision takes political will. Up, up and away. Look to the sky. The sky is the limit. You have a responsibility. It is an abdication of your responsibility to refuse to be responsible for what our political leaders are doing in our name, and not calling them out or holding them to account. Australia's future. It is up to you. Our model of democracy is failing us. We fail democracy when not actively engaged with it. Vote wisely. Connect with like-minded people who are committed to positive change. Join our Facebook group called Australia's Future. It's up to you.